In today's video, we are going to explore best Fyodor Dostoyevsky's quotes about life, freedom and security. Let's get started. I have a longing for life, and I go on living in spite of logic. I know that you don't believe it, but indeed, life will bring you through. You will live it down in time. What you need now is fresh air, fresh air, fresh air. I think I could stand anything, any suffering, only to be able to say and to repeat to myself every moment, I exist. In thousands of agonies, I exist. I'm tormented on the rack, but I exist. Though I sit alone in a pillar, I exist. I see the sun, and if I don't see the sun, I know it's there. And there's a whole life in that, in knowing that the sun is there. I used to imagine adventures for myself. I invented a life, so that I could at least exist somehow. I used to watch the line where earth and sky met, and longed to go and seek there the key of all mysteries, thinking that I might find there a new life, perhaps some great city where life should be grander and richer, and then it struck me that life may be grand enough even in a prison. I'm a master of speaking silently. All my life I've spoken silently, and I've lived through entire tragedies in silence. I've always considered myself smarter than everyone around me, and sometimes, believe me, I've been ashamed of it. At the least, all my life I've looked away and never could look people straight in the eye. It seems, in fact, as though the second half of a man's life is made up of nothing but the habits he has accumulated during the first half. It's life that matters, nothing but life, the process of discovering, the everlasting and perpetual process, not the discovery itself, at all. Life is in ourselves, and not in the external. Life is paradise, and we are all in paradise, but we refuse to see it. Life is what matters, life alone, the continuous, eternal process of discovering life, and not the discovery itself. Neither a person nor a nation can exist without some higher idea. And there is only one higher idea on earth, and it is the idea of the immortality of the human soul, for all other higher ideas of life by which humans might live derive from that idea alone. Now I'm living out my life in a corner, trying to console myself with the stupid, useless excuse that an intelligent man cannot turn himself into anything, that only a fool can make anything he wants out of himself. Paradise is hidden in each one of us, it is concealed within me too, right now, and if I wish, it will come for me in reality, tomorrow even, and for the rest of my life. Perhaps I really regard myself as an intelligent man only because throughout my entire life I've never been able to start or finish anything. The consciousness of life is higher than life. There is nothing higher and stronger and more wholesome and useful for life in later years than some good memory, especially a memory connected with childhood, with home. Though these young men unhappily fail to understand that the sacrifice of life is, in many cases, the easiest of all sacrifices, and that to sacrifice, for instance, 5 or 6 years of their seething youth to hard and tedious study, if only to multiply tenfold their powers of serving the truth and the cause they have set before them as the goal, such a sacrifice is utterly beyond the strength of many of them. We don't understand that life is heaven, for we have only to understand that and it will at once be fulfilled in all its beauty. We shall embrace each other and weep. A new philosophy, a new way of life, is not given for nothing. It has to be paid dearly for and only acquired with much patience and great effort. Do you believe in a future everlasting life? No, not in a future everlasting, but in an everlasting life here. There are moments, you reach moments, and time comes to a sudden stop, and it will become eternal. Don't be overwise, fling yourself straight into life, without deliberation. Don't be afraid, the flood will bear you to the bank and set you safe on your feet again. For, after all, you do grow up, you do outgrow your ideals, which turn to dust and ashes, which are shattered into fragments, and if you have no other life, you just have to build one up out of these fragments. Humanity can live without science, it can live without bread, but it cannot live without beauty. Without beauty, there would be nothing left to do in this life. Here the secret lies. Here lies the entire story. Humiliate the reason and distort the soul. I am a dreamer. I know so little of real life that I just can't help reliving such moments as these in my dreams, for such moments are something I have very rarely experienced. Suffering and pain are always obligatory for a broad consciousness and a deep heart. Truly great men, I think, must feel great sorrow in this world. Suffering is part and parcel of extensive intelligence and a feeling heart. Suffering is the sole origin of consciousness. Nothing is more seductive for a man than his freedom of conscience, but nothing is a greater cause of suffering. Accept suffering and achieve atonement through it, that is what you must do. And yet I am convinced that man will never give up true suffering, that is, destruction and chaos. Why? Suffering is the sole root of consciousness. To confess one's guilt and one's original sin is little, very little. One must wean oneself away from them completely. And that takes more than a little time. Full freedom will come only when it makes no difference whether to live or not to live. That's the goal for everyone. Nothing has ever been more insupportable for a man and a human society than freedom. The Grand Inquisitor. There is nothing more alluring to man than freedom of conscience, but neither is there anything more agonizing. To begin with unlimited freedom is to end with unlimited despotism. Anyone who can appease a man's conscience can take his freedom away from him. The best way to keep a prisoner from escaping is to make sure he never knows he's in prison. Please let us know your favorite quotes from these best Fyodor Dostoyevsky's quotes about life, freedom and security in the comments section. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.